Welcome to Bella Vista Gardening. Today I have my guest today is Tony LiCausi.
Good morning.
And he is a fellow master gardener and a fellow member of the Bella Vista Garden Club, and I'm Jerry Horner. And today we're going to be talking about an unusual subject for everyone, it seems to be, is public gardens in Bella Vista. People don't think we have them, but we do. And we're also talking about upcoming events and what to do in your garden in August. So August is kind of a slow month for upcoming events, except they have the Benton County Fair, and the Master Gardeners have a booth there. They have a booth every year.
Right.
And this year they're having a booth there too. It's going to be starting on August 12th on a Tuesday, and it's going to end on a Saturday this year instead of Sunday. It's going to August 16th. So that's also the time where you can sign up to be a Master Gardener, to sign up for the classes.
Exactly.
And the classes are in January.
Right.
And if you're interested in being a Master Gardener, you can sign up for the classes there. You can call the Extension office. And we'll have that number on the screen below with the hotline.
Oh, good.
But you can be a Master Gardener very easily just by attending the classes. So the other thing we want to talk about was the public gardens.
Yep.
And like I said, most people don't even think we have public gardens in Bella Vista, but if you think about it, we do.
Well, we have a few. We need a lot more.
We need more. We do need more.
But it takes bodies.
Yeah, and it takes work.
Right.
But it's fun work to do. But the one that's near and dear to our hearts in the garden club is the Bella Vista Living Memory Garden.
Right.
And I just love the story of that garden and the history of it because Jo Hackett was a member of the garden club, and she was a little dynamo. I don't think she was 5 foot tall, and she had a dream one night years ago, in I guess 86, something like that. And the hillside by the country club was just weeds and trees and brambles, and it was awful. And she dreamt that there was a wonderful garden up that hillside. And she went to the garden club, she was in the garden club, and proposed that we start a living memory garden. And it was presented to the POA, and they agreed to maintain it. So it was all done by donations, and we have some pictures of it. There's several times of the year that it's just a beautiful garden to visit. And have you been there recently?
I was there about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it changes, periodically. Yes. Now, the most spectacular
is when the azaleas are blooming.
When the azaleas are blooming.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful, and the azaleas are just magnificent.
That's a good photograph there.
And then they also have dogwoods, and they have red buds. And Jo Hackett died at the age of 100 in 2005, and they planted a pink dogwood in her memory. So there's some beautiful things there. Then her daughter was also in the garden club, Jo Higginbotham, and she presented the garden with a little bronze statue. Let me go back here. I'm going too fast here. Okay, she presented a bronze statue, and that was done in 2009, and that's in front of the country club.
And I'm seeing annuals there, it looks like.
Right, they change the plantings every year. It's a little different. The
Right.
POA does the plantings, but the little girl is called Garden Sense. That's her name, and she was sculpted by Corinne Hartley from California. And when she sculpted it, she was 88 years old when she sculpted it.
Wow.
So she's quite a sculptor. And she's just a sweet little thing. So it was a nice addition to the garden.
That's such a compelling story about, how somebody took something ugly and devoted years of their life to create something like this memorial garden that people still enjoy year-round here, but they don't know the story, behind it. But I don't know who said it, but a saying I heard some years ago, it's sort of lends itself to her legacy is that flowers are the hieroglyphics of angels.
Oh, well, that's nice. A nice
and
saying.
I think that pretty much
That
defines
defines
what she
Jo,
was all about,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. And then her daughter, continued on with that, adding the sculpture. Now, the other time that garden is beautiful is at Christmas, when they have the Christmas lights up. It's just beautiful on Christmas. But all the stone berms and everything are completed, and they're not going to be adding any more to it. So the garden club is still, looking for donations, but they go to POA, and the POA maintains it for the community. So, and then
it becomes a part of civic pride.
Oh yes,
you have visitors from out of town. You take them there. And you're going to have a lot more pride in walking in to an event there and coming out than you would if it was just the hillside that was there prior, just growing up with Johnson grass.
Right, and weeds, pokeweed. And then if you do make a donation to the garden, it's recorded in books. We have books inside the country club. If you go inside the door, it's on the right side. It's recorded there. Now, another public garden people don't think about too much is the Bella Vista Memorial Garden Cemetery. And it's not just the Bella Vista Cemetery, it's called a Memorial Garden Cemetery. So it was developed probably 1984, 85, and Cooper Communities donated 27 acres for the cemetery, and it's run by 11 of the churches in Bella Vista. They oversee the cemetery, and that 27 acres includes the old Buxton Cemetery. So it was a circa 1845 cemetery with 126 pioneers buried there. So it's both the Buxton Cemetery and some surrounding areas. And it was dedicated in 1985. So, and the Bella Vista Garden Club has maintained gardens there for quite a few years. They had a gazebo, and now they have a little building. But they have, at the entrance, they also do the entrance plantings, and they change periodically as you enter the cemetery.
And again, can you imagine this entrance without that there?
Right. It'd be just nothing.
Right.
Right. And then this is the little building they built. It was supposed to be an informational building, and I'm not sure what they're using it for now, but the garden club maintains all the plantings around that little building. Then next to it we have they have a schematic of all the plots, where to find your loved ones if they're interned there. And then they also have added Lambeth, they call it.
Right.
And it's all the stonework. It's very restful there, very a peaceful area. And they've added also a butterfly garden, and they've got a little plaque there. It was done in 2011. They did a lot of reconstructing of the cemetery in 2011. And the garden club worked on that. That's a
the
picture of the
garden.
Butterfly garden, and it's just full of butterflies when those plants are blooming.
Yeah, well, now it's loaded with every kind of butterfly.
Right, they're all making their trips down south.
The thing about it is, when people come to these areas and they go to visit a loved one from the past, and they walk through these gardens, these gardens help you to remember that gardens, I think, erase people that love flowers and love gardens and love nature, that when we're all together and we're experiencing that, we forget gender differences. We forget ethnicity differences, age differences.
We all become one.
Social, political, all those differences disappear. We all become citizens of the universe together, and
appreciate all that.
And we appreciate that, and that all. And these gardens have that effect on people. If only for a moment. If we can only do that for a moment, at least it's a reprieve from the norm.
The stress you're going
of
through.
Normal day, right?
I know they have a lot of gardens at hospitals, like, there's one hospital up north, they have big gardens, and they just find that the patients are more, at ease when they go through these gardens, and it
Right.
just, sets your mind in a different place. So they're wonderful therapy.
Yes, they
They're
are.
therapy. And the, my slides aren't cooperating here. The other part of the garden, the cemetery, they have an astronaut garden. And I know we had an astronaut living in Bella Vista
Right.
years ago, and I guess he's interned there. I don't know his name, but they also have a little area called the Astronaut Garden, and it's really peaceful there too. Now, the other garden we're going to talk about is the Blue Star Memorial Garden at the Visitor Center in Highway 71, and
Right.
you've been very active with that garden. And some people don't realize it's even there.
Well, I worked in that garden probably last 3 or 4 years, and it's amazing. People will go into that visitor center there, and they'll say, "What is this flower? Or what is that?" Or the other. And what they do is they say, "Well, if you really want to know what that cultivar is, give me your contact information,
Right.
and we'll have the person in charge." So I get people from all over the United States, and the campanula is the one that gets the most.
Oh, yeah.
They see that that violet flower hanging down, and it
Yeah,
just
it's
intrigues
like a little
people.
bell.
But we get so many comments from people all over the country, and there's always something in bloom, except for maybe December and January,
Right.
that's blooming there. We've got a vast array of perennials in that bed, and we get lots and lots and lots of comments,
Right.
and it's a nice entry coming from the north into Arkansas.
And the south,
Yeah,
too.
and the south, yeah.
Right. And the Blue Star Memorials, those are really a National Garden Club project.
Right.
They have the Blue Star Memorial plaques all over the country, and they're just in honor of our veterans that have fought for our freedoms. So it's really a beautiful garden, and I know that they get a lot of comments about it.
Oh, yeah.
I know they do.
Yeah, tremendous
Yeah.
amount.
And we can also propagate
And
plants
again,
there
it's all
too.
done with volunteers, and I work in a lot of gardens all over Bella Vista and Bentonville as well, at Compton and at Peel, in addition to all the ones in Bella Vista. But we need bodies. We need more people involved because it improves property values. It's shown that better landscape towns have 15% higher property values than towns that aren't
absolutely.
landscaped nicely.
Yeah.
People are happier. There's less crime. They use plantings for urban renewal. I mean,
And
the list goes
more
on. And
pride
on
in
and
your
on.
area.
More
you know,
pride in the
yeah.
area, and people say, "Oh, I don't want to join this or that or the other. They're going to work me to death." Yeah, take that garden, for example. That's a nice-sized garden, and it's a lot of flowers in it. That garden, from a volunteer standpoint, most of the people on my committee didn't work more than 3 or 4 hours a year. We met maybe 3 or 4 times, and they worked an hour. But if more people would give 3 or 4 hours a year, who's so busy that they don't have an hour every 3 or 4 months to help out on a garden? Because you don't realize that when you do that hour and you leave, there are hundreds and thousands of people who come behind you that appreciate that beauty
And what
that are
you've done.
touched
Right.
by that environment.
Right. And like I said, it's really important too for the Blue Star Memorial to honor our veterans that
Yeah,
have
absolutely.
done so much for
Absolutely.
us. So, and then across the street, across the highway from that garden is the Veterans Wall of Honor.
Wall of
Now
Honor.
that is one of the most beautiful sites in Bella Vista. It's a beautiful, beautiful memorial.
There, we keep up, the annuals that are on the entrance there.
Right.
There you go. You got a shot of it.
I got a picture of
for the approach, and we try to keep that. You know, Blooming's got a red, white, and blue theme going there. And then we've been asked to consult on, they've got a little tree problem around the fountain with sun scald and that sort of thing. So we're looking to make some changes to that will have to involve master gardeners as well. So we've come up with a solution for something more evergreen and something that doesn't have as much debris to clog up the fountain as what's there now.
Yes, I noticed when I went by there was some leaves, you know, from the trees that they have
in the
trouble
fountain,
with.
Clog up the filters. And, So there's some things that we're working on to make that more serene and pleasant experience with less upkeep.
And we have, at that area, we have planted some of our trees at Arbor Day. We planted some trees on the grounds, you know, around the memorial. So it's a beautiful, beautiful site. And of course they have all the plaques that people have bought, you know, honoring their family members. And I have 4 plaques in the walls there. I have my husband and his 2 brothers and my brother. So we've honored them with plaques. And it's just a sight to see. And you know, 2 years ago, our national president from Washington was here, from the National Garden Club president.
I remember that now.
She was here, and I took her to this memorial. Well, she's seen so many memorials in Washington and all over the country. She commented, she said, this is one of the most beautiful memorials I've ever seen. And she was very impressed with, you know, the history of the wars and how it's been laid out, and she just thought it was wonderful.
It's an excellent design. The design is really...
It really is. It's a gem for...
Kudos to whoever did that. But
they designed it.
People, you know, any viewers that have not been to the Wall of Honor, they really need to go.
They need to go.
And take your children. If you have little ones, take them. It's important that they know how we're enjoying all the things that we enjoy today.
All of our freedoms have been fought for years. So, and then the newest garden we have is the American Legion Memorial. It's the POW-MIA garden.
Right.
So it was just dedicated July 5th of 2014. Right. And it's a very young garden.
In its infancy.
Yeah, it's very young. And it's got a lot of growing to do, but the setting is very peaceful and serene. And it's at the Legion Post 31, which is on Highway 71 at Kingsland Road. So it's been quite an effort to get the stone placed and get the
all the hardscape is in and finished, and now it's just a matter of it's budgeting for materials, for plant material, and then again here the big problem is manpower, maintenance manpower. And once those gardens are in and planted, first of all, some contributions for some plant material would help. And then the second thing would be if somebody, again, could give 3 or 4 hours a year just
pull
to
a weed
that one
or
garden,
put some
just
mulch
to that
down.
one, to show up every 3 months and do, you know, 1 hour of their time. If a handful of people would do that, those gardens back there could just be absolutely spectacular because the hardscape's in place.
Well, I think I said it was Legion Post 31. It's really 341 is the Legion Post number. I messed that number up. But they're very active there, and I think the wastewater company has donated plants there. And the Garden Club, I think, donated some plants too. So from our plant sale that were left, and it's going to be a growing garden. It'll be ever changing, you know, as the things go through and they start planting and experiencing what works and what doesn't work. That's the thing with a garden. You plan it out, and then things just don't work out the way you think they are. You know, you lose a tree and you have more sun than you thought, or the tree grows and gives you too much shade. So gardens are ever changing, and they just don't stay stagnant.
I wish we had more of them.
We do need more.
Which is another issue.
We do need more. We do need more. And I don't know if there's another shot of that. So anyway, there's just wonderful gardens in Bella Vista that people need to visit, and you need to visit them more than once a year because they keep changing.
They change.
And it's just like at the trails. If you go through the trail at Tanyard, that trail has gardens on each side of it that
Yep.
nature has put down.
That's right.
And it changes every couple weeks. There's different flowers blooming and different things going on. And I
Well,
guess we should maybe...
All those wildflowers, you know, that's how Earth laughs.
the wildflowers.
Well, that's right. That's the Earth laughing.
Earth laughing. I
Right.
haven't heard that one
Right.
before.
But the line that I like the best, and the importance of all these public gardens, is a quote from Tennessee Williams. And Tennessee Williams says, "While hiking in the mountains, I saw violets breaking the rocks."
Oh.
And I think what he meant by that was, in life, we run across hard things and dark things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the flowers that bring peace and harmony and joy and calmness
Mm-hmm.
to difficult times. That's why there's flowers at funerals,
Mm-hmm.
for example.
Right, that's true.
Okay, and flowers, like you mentioned earlier, at hospitals.
Right.
You know, the
Right.
major hospitals of the world have beautiful gardens outside because you've got somebody there that's not in very good shape, and you're there. You can go outside, walk
Right.
the gardens, sort of
You smell the flowers.
It sort of, softens your mood,
Right.
so to speak. I think that's what Williams was addressing there when he said he saw violets breaking the rocks.
Breaking
I
the
thought that
rocks.
was pretty poignant.
Well, there's another garden that that has a different theme, and it's in Columbia, Missouri, and it's a garden for the blind. And we don't think about all the senses the gardens bring us, but the garden for the blind is set up so that they can feel and touch and smell, and that's just other senses
Big
to
emphasis on fragrant flowers.
Right, and the feel
Makes
of the
sense.
flower. If they could feel the lamb's ear and how soft it is, or feel the holly, the sharp edges of the holly, and it awakens your senses that you don't even think about when you walk through a garden.
Brings people back to center.
It does. They're just wonderful. And I think, like I said, we do need more, and I think hopefully with the city, maybe we can work with them and find some areas to put in some public
Call your
gardens.
representatives.
Yeah.
Call.
They're called the aldermen, right?
Right.
But if we can just get some more gardens in Bella Vista, I know the golf courses have some little gardens too.
Yeah, those sprays of wildflowers that they've done,
they're just beautiful.
I think was a great touch.
Yeah,
That's nice.
It lowered the mowing areas.
Sure.
They don't have to mow it, and now they have beautiful wildflowers you can see from
Exactly.
the highway. And they also, some of the golf groups have little gardens on the golf courses. So it's hard for the public to go in and see these gardens.
Well,
'cause,
prime example, everybody goes on and on and on and on and on about Augusta. Can you imagine if Augusta didn't have azaleas?
Oh, that would be boring.
Nobody'd be talking about it, would
That's
it?
right. It'd be boring.
There you go.
But we have a couple really nice little gardens. There's one, I think, by the 15th hole at Country Club that's dedicated to the breast cancer Coleman Foundation, and it's all pink flowers. And the Daylily Club, when it was in existence, had donated some pink daylilies for the garden, and I think it all blooms in pink.
Oh, wow.
And it's a beautiful little
That
garden.
I haven't seen.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So, like I said, if we could put a garden at every cul-de-sac in Bella Vista, it would be fantastic. But I don't think the POA will let us do that. But
Just if nothing else, just
yeah, put some
fill the
wildflowers.
cul-de-sacs full of bulbs, and the
Or-
bulbs will just take care of themselves
Right,
from
or
then on.
do
they'll
some
all
wildflowers.
pop up, and
And put some wildflowers in the cul-de-sacs or something. But it's amazing what the difference it makes in flowers. If you go up to Niagara Falls, for instance, and you're on the U.S. side,
Oh yeah,
it's
I've
very
I've
boring.
made that drive by car.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Right.
You're going. It's like driving in a black and white movie,
Mm-hmm.
and you go across the bridge, and you're now in Technicolor.
Right, in
You know,
Canada, it's
right.
the flowers
It
are just
changes.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And it just changes
And
your
it-
whole mood and how you see that Niagara Falls.
Yeah,
So
they have flowers everywhere.
it makes a difference. They make a difference. Well, I guess we need to talk about what we need to do in our gardens to improve them and have flowers in our gardens for August. And August is really just a time to like the deadhead and water. That's about all you can do. The planting's done, and sometimes it's just so hot you don't want to be out there for hours on end. So
But we have been lucky this year.
this has been a good year. We've had some good rains in the early spring, and we may be getting into our drought area now because it seems like the rain's north and south of us lately. But
Just try to keep an inch a week in your landscape, and you'll be fine.
yeah, and the annuals. Some of them have seen better days. They probably need to be pulled if they don't look too good, or pinch back. You got to pinch back your
Either
annuals.
pinch them back or
take them out.
or take them out
Or
and
replace them.
Right.
There's still some things available in the garden
Oh, there's great
centers.
buys. Oh, yeah. There's some fabulous buys now because they're all discounting.
Right. I'm trying to get rid of them.
Yep.
And then on your herbs, you can make some vinegars out of your herbs, or you can make pesto out of your basil. So there's things you can do with that. And the perennials, mums are setting their blooms.
Yep.
And they'll be
And
blooming.
they look great.
They're looking very good this year. They've had a good amount of water in the spring and early summer.
And they'll bloom more if they're deadheaded regularly. too.
Right. And the lawns. Now you have Bermuda.
I have Bermuda.
You have Bermuda.
And my lawn looks great right now, but I'm just, I've had to water twice this year, which is for the end of July. It's a remarkable statement to make.
Especially in Arkansas.
But again, I follow that an inch a week rule. And so...
and you want to raise your blades a little bit in August?
well, we've had such cool weather. I'm still at 2.5 inches.
2.5.
But if we hit triple digits and no rain, I'll bring it up a notch.
About 3 inches.
Yep,
Yeah.
I will.
Okay. And the roses, mine haven't done well this year. They got something early in the spring that turned the leaves brown, and nobody seems to know what that is. It's something that it's not the rosette disease, and it wasn't lack of water. It was. I've seen it in several areas, and even in Missouri.
That I haven't seen.
And it set my roses back a little bit. But you need to watch for the aphids and for the
black spot.
Black spot. And we haven't seen too many of the Japanese beetles for a couple years.
I
so
am
they've,
absolutely amazed. I'm holding
Yes.
my breath. I'm like,
I'm thinking maybe those really hot summers and that cold winter did them in or something.
I don't know, but you know,
They're not the problem they used to be.
I have a long row of altheas and rows of Sharon. And normally the Japanese beetles are all over them, and I've seen 2 Japanese beetles this year.
They're almost non-existent this year.
so
I didn't see any on the golf course hardly at all either.
Yep.
Okay, and the trees and shrubs, you got to check your evergreens for bagworms.
Yep, especially the conifers.
And scale.
Yeah.
You could get scale.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, your best prevention on scale is if you have scale problems is to spray with dormant oil earlier in the year and in the early spring.
Yeah, so if you do have that problem now, think about it for, make a note for next spring.
Make a note in next spring, spray with
take care
dormant
of
oil. And bagworms, just got to pick them off.
And burn them, don't you?
There are some systemics that you can use that work pretty good, but for the most part,
But once you pick them off, don't you put them in a bucket and burn them?
Yeah, you really need to burn them.
You need to get rid of them.
you
You can't
get
just
rid
throw
of
them in the trash because
No,
then they'll go on someone else's plant.
They'll come out of that. They'll come out of that little cocoon. They'll move on to something else.
And there's an awful lot of the tent worms or the
you talking about bagworms?
no, not the bagworms, the
Webworms. Webworms.
A lot of webworms
especially
this
in the
year.
nut trees.
A lot of webworms this year.
Yeah.
And we've had several attack our trees. We've cut them out and then we've burned those too.
Yeah, there's 2 ways you can do them. You can just, if you have a pole pruner, you can prune them out. Of course, sometimes they get so high,
Yeah.
you can't. They don't do any damage to the tree.
They're not going to kill the tree.
They will not kill the tree.
But they're just unsightly.
But they are unsightly. If you're, another simple technique is just if you have a long pole, if you'll rip the web open. I'm from Texas, so we have lots of webworms in pecan trees. If you'll rip open the web, the wasp will do the rest of the work for you. Yeah.
Okay, so that's
Yeah,
a
the wasp
natural way to
can't-
get
Yeah,
rid
the
of
wasp can't get to them in that web, but when you
yeah.
rip that web open, the wasp will be your friends.
Okay. We also, for more information, you can check on the Bella Vista Garden Club website. It's bellavistagardenclub.com. And we start our year off this September. In September we start again with our meetings at September 24th at 11 o'clock. And we meet at United Lutheran Church on Cooper Road. And you can consider this a personal invitation to attend our next meeting on September
Great.
24th. And thank you, Tony, today for coming and
You
giving
bet.
us all your good information.
I don't know.
And,
How much time do we have?
We have just about 30 seconds
Oh,
left.
30 seconds. I
Yeah.
finish with a quick poem?
Sure.
Okay. This is from William Wordsworth. I thought it'd be fitting. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance.
Well, that's a nice way to end.
Nice way to end.
So, I hope you've enjoyed the show, and we'll tune in again next month.
Join a garden organization.
And
It's on Bella Vista Garden Club, Master Gardeners. We need more
Right.
gardeners. Make the world beautiful.
That's
People
right.
happy.
Don't forget to stop and smell the roses.